Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Raise the Vibe with Liz. I'm your host, Liz Peterson, and today I'm doing a special wealth episode with Serena Curran. So welcome back to her. If you remember her, we did an interview not too long ago, so be sure to check that out as well, a couple years ago. Today, we are talking about amplifying your wealth the soulful way. Who doesn't want to talk about wealth, right? Everybody's always searching for it's the biggest topic. How do we manifest wealth? And Serena's going to tell us all about that. But before I invite Serena to talk, I want to tell you a little bit about her. So Serena Curran guides change makers, visionaries, spiritual entrepreneurs, and new world leaders who are at a crossroads to comfortably expand into their next level with ease. She is the founder of Wealth by Soul Design and is a Soul Liaison, spiritual business mentor, healer, teacher, and Akashic Record Channel. With over 25 years of global experience, Serena's had the privilege of leading and inspiring hundreds of women to safely take courageous leaps while unlocking more impact and income than they ever dreamed possible and protecting their well-being. And along the way, she has also taken incredible soul-inspired leaps that took her in new directions and created miracles that she never imagined. She used these experiences to create the Wealth Amplifier, embracing the harmonious, inspired path to prosperity, which sounds amazing. She says the magic comes from heeding the call of your soul by listening and trusting while relying on your soul courage to just jump off. Serena, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Liz. I always love being here with you.
I love having you too. Like I was saying before we press go, it's like having soul family here, my soul sister here to talk about wealth and abundance and how we can remove the blocks, step into our way of following our soul and really bring in that wealth that everybody deserves, right?
Yeah, well, it's everybody. Yes, everybody deserves. Everybody has access to it, and it's really about learning how to connect with it in a harmonious way, so that it actually you actually receive it into your life. It's not really about creating it; it's already available. It's about how do you bring it into your own life, and that takes some, kinds of evolving of yourself. And and it's available to everyone. Everyone has that possibility of bringing wealth into their own life.
So let's focus on that. It is already available. I love that because everybody's always seeking. It's something that's out of reach and in the future, right? It's in my future, it's in your future. But if we change that perspective to it's already available now, let's talk about that, how you came to feeling that and creating that within yourself and what that looks like for everybody.
Well, it simply is. That's a lot about trusting, but it's also just really how the universe works. In other words, for something to actually appear here, and this is perfect actually, for something to appear here, it already has a spiritual blueprint. It's already created. So even because when we talk, let's say we talk about the Akashic Records, that's your spiritual DNA. So sorry. You're talking to me. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
That's your spiritual DNA or your actual blueprint. So everything has a blueprint. So whatever it is that you'd like to have in your life already exists. It's really the process of how do we take that spiritual blueprint, that etheric blueprint, and how do we help it precipitate or actually appear here in the physical? And we do that through our bodies. That our bodies are a perfect example of that. We're here physically, and we have a spiritual energy that's flowing through us that's actually animating this physical vehicle and creating that bridge from that spiritual realm down to the physical realm here on the earth. Does that make sense?
Kind of. So I want to elaborate a little bit more on that spiritual blueprint. Like we are this soul, we're incarnating in this physical body, this lifetime, plugging into the planet, trying to embody ourselves. And where do we find or that space in us if we're not able to manifest wealth that is that spiritual blueprint to already have that wealth and abundance?
So it's, really it's connecting to source is a big piece of it. Again, if you think of yourself as a bridge between heaven and earth, between what is not manifest and you would like to manifest into manifesting here, then that energy that flows through the center of you is that creative source that gives you the inspirations and the other things that you need to make that creation appear or to receive it. A lot of times, the creation could appear, but we aren't able to receive it. And that these are about the evolution, the how do I put it? I guess we could just say it's about the healing, really, of some of the barriers that we have created or have been created that keep us from actually receiving. I think that's a little more complicated than I want to make it. I mean, there are easy methods, and that's what I teach, easy ways of actually bringing yourself and all the parts of yourself into harmony with your soul. I like to think about it as harmonious connection, because I used to teach soul alignment a lot, and you'll hear that a lot, but it seems very linear and two-dimensional. And really what we want is that full harmonious connection with our soul. And so that means there's other parts of ourselves, like our emotions and our mental body and our intuition and things that need to play a part in that. And there's easy processes for learning how to bring all those things into harmony. And as you evolve, you get to bring them into harmony again and again. That's how it works here. There's no end point.
So you're saying soul evolution. I want to focus in on this because, coming into our own self-development, our own personal empowerment is working on ourselves, our inner selves, like know thyself, right? And you're bringing up that this is part of our journey, our way to welcoming that wealth into our lives.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's part of our soul journey. And what came up here for me was that a lot of times we focus on that mental emotional level of making changes so that we can receive that wealth. But in reality, we really need to go to that spiritual DNA, that Akashic records, where there are sometimes interferences that you really can't remove without connecting to those records, or you can place things in there. That's how you rewrite your future. As you go in, let me just slow down a little bit here and just say that what you're doing in every moment is writing your future. So you're writing your future in your Akashic records, or in your spiritual DNA, or in your spiritual blueprint, or your quantum DNA. You can call it all of those things. It's on the etheric level. And so you're writing your future, you're putting it in that blueprint and then that blueprint is going to create your future for you. So you have all this power as long as you're in the present moment and you're doing the things that you need to evolve yourself, you're creating a wealthier and wealthier future in front of you. That makes sense. And so, I can let me tell a story, if you don't mind, about an experience I had that will illustrate some of this for the audience. And I like to tell this story because it has a couple of different aspects in it, but it happened quite some years ago when I was living in Sedona. And it was summertime and there weren't many, we were doing healing work there and there weren't many people around. Nobody wants to be there in the summer. And I got to a point where I had about $20 in cash left in my name. And I was like, oh, gee, I wonder what I should do about this. And I wasn't getting that I should really do anything at all. So I'm on my way to the gym and I run into a friend of mine who did readings for her living there. And she said to me, you better get a job. And I looked at her and I said, I don't think so. I'm not getting that. And I want you to notice right there that was an opportunity for me to give my power to someone else or to trust myself. So that was really important. And I just said, I don't think so. And I went off to the gym, and a few minutes later, a policeman came in and he said, whose car is that outside? And I said, well, that's mine. And he said, well, it's just been in an accident. And what had happened is someone had parked their truck at a 90-degree angle and didn't put the brake on, and it rolled, and it made a 90-degree turn and went into the back of my car. So
Wow.
nobody was hurt or anything like that. And I looked and I went, oh my gosh, what is this all about? And as the story goes, she had great insurance. Within 3 days, I got an estimate for repairing. It was $3,800. I'd only paid $3,500 for the car, so they could have taken it. They didn't. Instead, they gave me a check within 3 days for $3,800. I went to the next town and got it repaired for $600. And in 4 days, I had $3,200 in cash in my hands.
Wow.
So, yeah. So there's a lot of what I want to bring here is that there's a number of lessons in there about how you go about allowing those kinds of things to come to you, those synchronicities, or what I want to call it, it's a miracle. I didn't arrange that. That came from source. That's not something I could have arranged, right?
No, that is amazing because you have a friend walking up to you, old paradigm. I've even heard it myself, get a job, right? And then, you're like, no, I don't feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. So you're following your intuition and your gut instinct, in life. And like, no, I'm not, that doesn't feel in alignment to me about, what, moving forward here in Sedona. Right. And then this accident happens, and it was like the universe, source, proving to you that you are supported and that you will receive what you need in order to move forward without having to do anything.
Right, exactly. And so it was about, connecting to source and receiving the information. It was about trusting, and it was about allowing, and, not interfering, and just allowing things to unfold. And there's, a 90-degree angle turn. I mean, that's even weird itself. And so yes, that was totally arranged, and it was totally, you are supported, and things will work out for you. And of course, there's about that belief too that I had that it was going to work out. I didn't know how, but I knew it was going to work out. So I'm just going to the gym.
Right.
So there's all of those pieces play in there. But the beauty of that is you can develop all of that. You can develop the ability to connect. You can develop the ability to trust. You can develop the ability to allow, so that you can open up. And these are the things I teach, so that you can open up and have that greater wealth arrive for you, precipitate, come down from, manifest for you.
You also had belief.
Yes.
Which I think is really important, because I know our belief systems can get in the way. If we didn't grow up with money, then we may be holding the energy of lack. Yeah. If we heard things from our parents or within our family dynamics that speak poorly of people who had money, then you have that belief, that thought form, I like to say, stuck in your energy field. So how do we clear those things out in order to hold this belief? I am supported. The universe is always providing for me. I'm blessed to have that belief in my life. I am always supported, and the universe shows me that all the time. But for somebody who may not have that, how can they bring that into their lives?
Well, first of all, it's a choice. Beliefs are a choice. I think, the fewer beliefs you have, the better, but it's a choice to decide. This is a primary decision. Do we live in a benevolent universe, or do we not? And if we live in a benevolent universe, then we are supported and cared for and taken care of. So it's a primary choice, but it is a choice. And yes, those old beliefs can get in the way, but the more that you live in, and the beliefs do create, if I believe that I'm going to be supported, I'm going to be supported. And just knowing that, right? Remember, Wayne Dyer said that ages ago, right? Believing is seeing.
Yeah.
And so, minding the stories you're telling yourself, awareness is such a big part of all of this, right? You've got to have the awareness first before you can make the changes. So awareness of what it is you're telling yourself. I did not grow up in a wealthy family. I grew up in a blue collar family that lived paycheck to paycheck at times. And so I could have those kinds of beliefs too, but I trust the universe, and, I developed that. It didn't happen, it happened over time, and it started out by listening to my intuition. I used to do it when I first started. I did a little thing where I would get up in the morning and I would intuit 3 things I should do today, and then I would choose one of them. And some kind of magic would happen every single time. And so I was teaching myself to trust what I was receiving. And that's part of it. It's teaching yourself to trust. It's also trusting yourself. And how do you build trust with yourself? You keep your word to yourself, right? You have boundaries. You when you make an agreement, you follow through on it, so that if you tell yourself you're not going to eat a piece of cake today, you don't do it, so that you're learning to trust yourself. It's simple, really, right? I should have chosen a piece of cake, because that's really a hard one.
That is really a hard one, isn't it? When we're like,
Yes.
okay, we're not going to eat past 6. There's cake. There's
Right.
cake.
But it's, making agreements with yourself that are reasonable. Let's just start with, at least, and keeping those agreements so that you learn to trust yourself, taking care of yourself. If your body is tired, lie down. That's part of teaching yourself to trust yourself. So trusting yourself and teaching yourself to trust your intuition can start very simply. And so later, when something big comes in front of you, you've already got a reservoir of trust to draw on, if that makes sense.
That does make sense, because my
Yeah.
whole journey has been trusting my intuition, like my whole entire life. And I know a lot of people that, come and get work done from me, or get a reading from me. There are trust factors, that factor in to be able to trust your intuition, trust your abilities, when you're learning. So I think coming around and really setting up those practices like you were discussing, just to learn how to trust yourself on a daily basis, really sets the foundation for being able to trust yourself on a deeper level. I love that.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, so that's certainly what I teach my clients as well, and scarcity is something that it can affect all different parts of your life. It's sometimes very subtle that you're in scarcity, but go outside and look around the earth. It's teeming with abundance and beauty. And just if that's all you can connect to as far as abundance goes, it's right there available to you to connect and to appreciate and have gratitude for. And that's the beginning. Any way that you can do that, any way you can connect with abundance. And you can also just call in these frequencies as well, but that's another story. But nonetheless, it's right there in front of you. Abundance is right there in front of you, and you can't deny it. And the diversity and all of the beauty of even if you look at a flower, just look at one flower, it's totally amazing. The structure, the symmetry, all the pieces, and amazing. So just get curious and get amazed at what's out there. And that's part of wealth. And I do want to say something about wealth. Wealth is not just about money. Money is a part of it, but it's also your time, your freedom, your well-being, your pleasure, your relationships. And that's, again, that harmonious, holistic approach to living your life. So it's a wealthy lifestyle. And when it comes to your business, it's about creating a structure in your business that creates those things for you, that freedom, that the money, the impact, the things that you desire. So I just wanted to bring that up, because sometimes people get confused and think wealth is just a one-dimensional thing. No, it's this beautiful, holistic, even the word has got that richness to it.
I like that. I do a practice in my life where I look at all the abundance in my life. The roof over my head, the heat or the air conditioner that got put in this summer, or the wealth in my refrigerator, the wealth of the love of my pets, the
Right.
wealth of the love of my children, the wealth of how the universe supports me,
Right.
these sort of things. And I think like that gratitude practice, and that seeing like all of the abundance that I already have and how it shows up,
Right.
because when I'm flying, to visit a friend and I get a free upgrade, into first class, that's abundance. Like, and I
Yes.
make sure that I really let that sink in. Like, I am abundant right now,
Exactly. And with regards to money, because that seems can be an issue for a lot of people. It's
Mhm.
also about every time that you spend money or receive money, being grateful, really taking a moment to say, I'm so grateful that this money is here to support me and allow me to have the things that I need in my life or I want in my life. And so I'm very grateful. And, it's building that relationship with money because it's an energetic, right? And, there's being open to the beauty in every situation is what you're really saying. And that's what it's about, your perception and your focus, because you can focus on whatever you want. And if you want to focus on the garbage in your life, not that you ignore it, you need to respond to what needs to be adjusted and taken care of. But it's one thing to do that. It's another thing to live in sort of like this and this is so terrible, blah, blah, blah. No, there's beauty in every situation, no matter what it is, believe it or not. And, the truth is, if you really understand that the universe is here and supporting you, then you know that even when you have a challenge, it's an opportunity for you to evolve and go to the next level in your spiritual growth and in your wealth and in everything that you have in your life.
It really is. I agree. I want to circle back to that, but I also want to point out that you had a language around the gratitude around the money that's already in your life, or when you receive from source, a form of abundance, right? You spoke to it. Like I have a practice where I say, thank you, my money is working for me when I go to the grocery store, right? When I have a great day, giving readings all day at Crescent Moon Gifts in Tacoma. Thank you. Thank you for the abundance. My money is working for me. I get to take my sons out to birthday dinner tonight,
Right.
Because of the abundance that I made today through the people that source sent me
Right.
for healing. Right. So having that conversation, that gratitude, that receiving, and, kind of being like in this relationship with source,
Right.
Around that abundance that's coming into my life, that I realize that it's also a co-creation.
Yes.
Like
Exactly.
we're working together.
Yes, exactly. It's a lot about relationship and about understanding that these are energetics, but we have a relationship with them and you can develop that relationship. And when you're expressing gratitude to money, you can think of money you can think of any of these energies as a person. You can think of your business as a person. You can think of money as a person, and you can develop a relationship with it, just like you develop your relationship with source. And of course, one of the things that you said there is money comes from source. It doesn't come from other people. It comes through other people. I've had periods of time where people they'd show up. I'd get clients and I'd be like, where did you come from? Like, well, I saw you on a podcast that you were on 3 years ago, or I met you in a networking group, or I happened to see you on YouTube. Really strange ways that they come to me, because it's an energetic, and source is allowing that to come to me. And as long as I'm open to receive it, then, and that's another whole conversation, then I can receive it.
Let's talk about that whole other conversation, because
Yeah.
sometimes we do have blocks to receiving.
Yeah. And true. I kind of try not to think about blocks. I don't like the idea of going looking for blocks, because you'll find whatever you look for. So look for the good things. But let's talk about self-sabotage, which I think is what you're referring to. And that is this conversation we have that when we can't move forward, that we're sabotaging ourselves. We're doing something bad to ourselves. I find this extremely offensive because it's creating guilt, it's creating shame, it's making you feel like you're bad. And all of those energies, what do they do to your energetics? They make you contract, right? They don't make you expand. So really, and the truth of the matter is that what self-sabotage really is self-preservation. It is your body and your being saying, I am not ready to receive this. I'm afraid. I've got some fear going on here, or I've got some place inside of me that's just not on board with this. And something is in disharmony. Remember, because I said you've got to have harmony. Something is not in harmony with this action that I'm trying to take. And instead of getting upset or trying to power through it, let's stop and just say, okay, let's be aware. Let's just use that awareness and say, so important. Just accept it, accept the situation, accept it's okay. And show some compassion to yourself and some love to yourself. It's okay. I love you. It's okay. I understand. And really have a dialogue with whatever the fear is, or whatever, asking your body, what is it I need? And a lot of times this is your nervous system that's not in harmony. And, you can just go into your heart, and what love will solve everything, right? And send love to your nervous system and calm it and soothe it, instead of being harsh with it, really loving and help and supporting it, nurturing your brain and your mind and your nervous system to be able to take that step with you. And so I think that there's a lack of kindness to ourselves when we frame it up as self-sabotage, when it really is self-preservation. It's just your being letting you know that it can't go forward right now. And the more that you send love to that nervous system and to the brain and all those parts of yourselves, the more it will just bypass those. It'll start to learn to trust, right? And be okay with taking risks and taking leaps. Yeah.
I love that reframe there, that our bodies, our souls are just trying to keep us safe, right? And that's, our ego job too. Like when it's, doing the inner speak, it's trying to keep us safe. So what are some of the things that you've seen in working with clients where their inner selves are trying to keep them safe, around wealth? What does that look like?
It can look like a lot of different things. It can look like I can't get visible in my business. I can't, I do a lot of things in my business and nothing is happening. I can't get my business to grow. I've been successful up to this point, and now I've got all these degrees and all these certificates and all this experience, and there's something missing. I just can't go forward. I've hit my upper limit, and I don't know. And to me, that is asking you to do is to connect with source, to connect with your soul, and to do those practices that allow you to create that harmony with your soul, including that self-acceptance and self-compassion, and dialoguing. Again, this is an energetics that's creating this self-preservation. Dialoguing with that energetic, journaling with it, drawing it. Sometimes I've told clients that if you just write about what that emotion is and you describe it with all your senses, it will start to transform. And then sometimes it requires going to the Akashic records, because there are patterns, or there are past life experiences, or there are intergenerational trauma and all of these other things that so we're complex. It isn't like this line straight up and down. It's this harmonious thing. So sometimes it's meaning going to the Akashic records. And so in my new program, the Wealth Amplifier, I will help people to go into their own Akashic records. I'm all about learning to evolve yourself. And why is that important? Because right now we need to be sovereign beings. We need to be able to make decisions that are right for ourselves, like that decision in Sedona, because we're in an environment where there's a lot of chaos and there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of over here. No, look over here, look. So we have to be able to come back to our center and really connect with source and allow that intuition to guide us forward. I don't think there's a choice about this. I think this is essential for your well-being.
So when we're in that self-preservation, when we're in that self-preservation space, that's fear.
Yeah.
So how do we, like look within, do journaling, go into the Akashic records? Like, how would you suggest we pinpoint that fear?
Okay. Well, one of the, you've got this body wisdom here. And we often forget that the body has a frequency, and this is also part of our creation. So if we've got some fear, it's in the body. And so we can ask, where do I feel it in my body? Where do I find it in my body? And once having found it, you can ask it, tell me what you are. So it could be sadness, it could be anger, but if it's anger, is it rage, or is it just I'm annoyed? What is that? Try to get the right word for what that energetic is. And you can even ask, is this the right word? Is this the right word? And then begin a dialogue with that energetic. Like, what are you trying to tell me? What do you need? And have a dialogue back and forth. And sometimes just the dialogue alone will transmute the energy, or you'll discover something that you need to do. And sometimes it's, you need to be kinder to yourself. A lot of it is we tend to be so unkind and hard on ourselves. And really, another piece of that is self-acceptance. Like, how many times do people women especially look in the mirror and go, oh, I'm too fat, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other thing. Your body hears all of that. And that is the contractive energy again. So here's a simple, like on your daily basis, what kinds of things are you saying to yourself? Those are also going to interfere with your being able to expand into your next level of wealth. And these are all things, simple things that you can address in every moment of every day.
Yeah, those are great, simple awarenesses, which bring us back to what you were saying earlier about connect, trust, and allow.
Right.
So how can we develop those in our lives?
Well, connection to source is really, or to your soul is really about, again, well, meditation is always, that's sort of a bottom line. Connection, learning to connect to your Akashic records is really fabulous, because the Akashic records are just love and beauty and compassion and acceptance. And so when you connect with that energy yourself, you're now experiencing that energy, and you can have healing that happens without you doing anything. And you can also request healing in there, or put things in there to change something. You can change things that are in there. So we have all these powers that are available to us. And yes, we have to learn some things to do some of them. Like you have to practice meditation. Although it's simple, all you have to do is go outside and listen to the birds and keep listening to the birds, and just ignore the thoughts and just keep listening to the birds so the thoughts go away. And I've experienced that for myself, so I know that works. And it's a story about that too, because I was living in Austria at the time, and about the third or fourth day, the English stopped, but I by then was thinking in German. I could see the truckloads of German going through. So it took about, I did it for 21 days. I went into the forest and listened to the birds for an hour every day. So nature will always help you with any of these things too. I'm sorry, I got off track a little bit because I was just remembering that story. But so meditation is a kind of a basic thing, that because it's, again, connecting with source and allowing source energy, learning to connect with your Akashic records is really powerful. And of course, all of these other things of learning how to really work with your emotions, this idea that you should bypass your emotions is a really bad idea because they're still living in your body, right? They're still living in your body. And so they're still vibrating and they're still creating. And so, it's learning to work with your emotions and also learning how to connect with higher levels of emotion. Like I love to use words like, I say joy now. And this is my idea of calling in joy. And, you can play with these things and see what little things you can do to create a higher vibration, but not ignoring when there's sadness or sorrow or anger or whatever those vibrations are that are calling you. They're saying, hello, I want to talk to you. Hello, pay attention to me. They're not to be ignored.
And you were speaking to that earlier about harmonizing with your soul is, working with those emotions.
Right. It's that, and it's your perceptions and your thoughts. It's creating safety for yourself. You cannot create anything if you are unsafe. Bottom line, and this is why a lot of people have a problem with creating or with receiving, precipitating out, or the what's available to them, is because they don't feel safe enough to really open to receive it. And that's why I talked earlier about, there's things that you can do to create better safety, and, and trust in yourself is part of that. If you can't trust yourself, you can't feel safe even with yourself. Right. So,
yeah.
This sounds more complex than it really is. And, only because we're not doing it systematically. we're just having fun and having a conversation. But
Yes.
when I teach it, there are methods that you can use in conjunction, like mental emotional healing methods, which are great for this level. And then things you can do on the Akashic record level, the quantum level, with your quantum DNA, that will precipitate down and make changes without you doing anything. And combining those is really a way, in a way, is really a way of creating that wealth that you're wanting to have in your life, and allowing your business to expand and grow to whatever it is that you desire, however it is. And if you don't want your business to expand or grow, there's probably another area in your life that you do want to expand or grow, because, wealth has a lot of different parts to it.
It does, doesn't it? I like that emotional alchemy, as you say on your website, around this, and around this, like, wealth by soul design. I love that. What are the keys that you talk about in working with people around expanding business impact and income?
What are the keys? Well, there's a lot of keys, but connecting with source is connecting with sources. You have to have that connection with source, and you have to have that trust in yourself and in source to be able to follow what you're hearing from source. Like I did in Sedona, is you have to have that trust in order to do that. So again, it's going to go back to those same things, which is the connection to source, which you can do through meditation, do through connecting with your higher self. There's any numbers of ways of doing that. And then again, as I said, the higher level way of doing it, which is with the Akashic records, which I don't think I even said, those are the records of everything that's ever happened. And you have your own personal soul record in there. And that's about what's happened to your soul, and that's where you're creating your future, writing your own future, by your emotional state, your beliefs, the energetics in your body, your level of safety. This is why, again, it's that holistic and harmonious creation that allows the wealth to emerge. Because there's a lot of aspects to it. So when I teach, when you said 3 keys, again, I'm going to go back to those 3 of the connection, the trust, and the allowing or receiving, allowing, not interfering, and not being attached to the outcome is partly about what allowing is about. And being willing to go in a different direction if that's what you're guided to do, and take those leaps, then that goes back to trust again. So there's certain basics like those, the connection, the trust, and the allowing, that underpin the rest of it. But it's also that mastery of creating safety for yourself. How do you work with your emotions? How do you trust your intuition? And what stories are you creating? And what, I always say, when something happens, you can create a story about it. Like there's a movie called Rashomon, and in Rashomon, it's a very classic movie. And in Rashomon, 3 people see a murder, and all 3 people have completely different stories about it, because their perceptions are different. So what does that tell you? That stories are not real, and you're making up a story about your experience. And so I always tell my clients, if you make up 5 more stories, and then pick the one that's the most empowering for you, because it doesn't matter. They're not true. They've made them up. And this is another piece of creating wealth for yourself, is choosing the stories you choose to tell yourself. Like, I am supported by the universe. I am guided by the universe. I am safe when I take a risk. I know the universe has my back. So you can choose any kinds of, those are we can say those are beliefs, but they're stories also. So I like to work with stories.
Yeah, they are. I like those. I'm going to rewind this myself and listen to those again, kind of rewrite some of my stories, right? I like it because it's a lot of like surrendering to source, surrendering to what is, surrendering to the flow of life. There's that awareness that, I am supported, that it is coming to me, and kind of rewriting those old programs. And then there's also that action involved where we have the ability to rewrite our Akashic records, to go in and rewrite our belief systems. I like that. I like the reframing, and I like that you added that extra little piece that people just don't talk about, where, our bodies and our minds are just trying to keep us safe. So if we realize that, oh, this could be a roadblock for me because I'm just trying to keep myself safe, in my little home, and not, receiving this wealth because this, that, or the other might happen. If we just like, oh, erase that, from our contract, or, our minds, our bodies, our energy systems, and then we can move forward out of that and be like, okay, thank you. And no, this isn't working for me. I'm moving forward. I am safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then living it so that it becomes part of your body. I mean, I think we ignore the body. Well, I don't want to make a generalization, but there is a lot of people who are ignoring their bodies when it comes to creating wealth. And your body, like, without your body, this is the part that creates, right? The physical. Without your body, your spirit cannot act. And without action, you cannot receive wealth. And that's the other piece that also gets confused, is that people feel like they just need to do the energetics. Now, the energetics are really important, and I'm never, they're going to be more important than anything else, but you must take action. You must do something on the physical, and you rely on your body for that. And there's a body wisdom. So the more you can tune into your body and ask your body, so even scanning your body in the morning and asking what your body needs, or asking your body when you're going to consume something, is this something that will be of benefit to me or not? These are simple things again. And it's about just knowing that these are things that you need to do and then doing them. And so having your own system. And I'm a free spirit, and I like adventure, and I don't necessarily want to have any kind of structure. But the truth is, we need some structure, because that gives us the ability to evolve and to create more wealth as we go forward. It gives us the ability to create our business as well. You need to have some structure in order to be able to do that. So there may be a little dilemma there for us free spirits around that, but there's ways around that. You don't have to make it rigid. You can make it like, I do the things that arise in the moment that I need to do. Maybe I meditate every day, but I don't have to do it any particular time. I can do it any time of the day I want. Or maybe I go sit out in nature for 15 minutes and just be quiet. And I can do that anytime I want. So you give yourself those freedoms, the freedom where you can, but still keeping that structure that'll help you to develop, to expand your wealth.
What about people these days? I know a lot of entrepreneurs out there, like, I'm doing this work, I'm putting my content out on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and there's a lot of free content out there, and people don't really want to pay for anything or make appointments or sign up for this, that, or the other. What do you tell those entrepreneurs out there who are running into those situations where they're, doing all this work, but they're not seeing any like receiving anything in value in return for all of the work that they're putting out into the world?
Well, first of all, I'd ask them to look at their stories. What are you telling yourself about social media? And I would ask, do you love what you're doing? I'm off of Facebook and IG. I am not willing, and this is me and my prejudice. I am not willing to be a creator for other people to make money when they are not showing my creations to anyone, or they're controlling it. So I've left those arenas. And where does that leave? I mean, I go to YouTube and I'm just starting on LinkedIn because they're search engines and people can find you. But that's a more of a practical, and I am practical. I'm Taurus sun, so I'm very practical. And about manifesting as well, bringing the spiritual into the physical. But so it's the stories too. Like if you expect something to work for you, it's going to work for you, right? But if it doesn't feel good to you, you can say, oh, I know that that being on Facebook or having a Facebook group is going to be really great for me. But inside you hate doing it. You are now like punching yourself in the face. You're saying on one hand, I'm going to do this. And the other hand is saying, no, no, no. So it's that, again, what is it? The harmony. So where are you in disharmony around that? And where have you not told yourself the truth? That's another big one. You need to make an agreement with yourself that you are going to tell yourself the truth, whether you like it or not. Because that's the only way forward. You got to start with the truth. So, what is the truth about your relation? Again, what is your relationship to this social media? How do you actually see it? What do you want it to be? And if you hate it, why are you doing it?
I like that
Where's
too.
the
Tell
kindness?
yourself the truth, and the inconvenient truth too.
Yeah, the real,
Yeah.
whatever the truth. What good does it do not to tell yourself the truth? It just leaves you going in a loop, loop-de-loop-de-loop, until you're willing to say, matter, this is where I'm really at, and I accept this as okay. And I look to see what might be the beauty in this. And hopefully we find that. But even so, if we're finding it that a little different, just accepting and allowing that this is how it is and being in the truth this is an opening energetic. When you're resisting what's true, you are again punching yourself in the face because you're not, it's not congruent. You've got, it's out of harmony. You've got yourself saying, I want to do this, but I don't really. And so, so you need to find those places in yourself. Oh, it's like a treasure hunt. Yes, I found another place where I'm like telling myself one thing and doing another, or I really feel this way about it. And where are my thoughts and my feelings and my actions in alignment? Are they not? And if they're not, I want to know where I'm out of alignment, because it's only in knowing that I can change it. And that's what we want to do. We want to change it, and so that we can expand into greater wealth. I mean, it seems
I love that.
But tell the truth.
Yeah. And by doing that, you're stepping into your soul's purpose, right? Because you're stepping into what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, what's in alignment with you. So then you inadvertently end up like living your soul's like purpose, basically, too, like within, the program.
Yeah, well, your soul's purpose, and let's talk about purpose, because that's a whole other thing that I feel like, there's all these things out there to find your purpose and what is your purpose and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you think your soul came here to go on a hunt in the needle, like a needle in a haystack, for what your purpose is? I don't. Your purpose is to express your soul. Your soul is in here because it wants to be expressed. So it's true that you have certain energetics in your soul. This is part of the readings that I do. You have certain energetics in your soul that you want to express. Like maybe you're the kind of person, it's a communicator like you and I, and we want to get out and talk and other things like that. Or maybe my soul gift is I know how to create beautiful environments or beautiful websites or beautiful branding. That's my gift. And I don't necessarily have to go out and give a speech about that. I can do my thing and my product can speak for itself, or however. But you get the idea that really it's about the expression of what's truly you. It isn't about and you can do that in any way you want. So, and because as you go through life, you're expressing your soul. You might have it be this purpose this time, and now I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to do that. Doesn't mean you're changing who you are at the soul level. It just means you're changing the way that you go about expressing it. And that's nothing to do with purpose. Your purpose is to express your soul. My little soapbox.
I love that too. And by connecting and trusting and allowing and receiving, you are living in alignment with your soul.
Yeah, you're living that expression and doing the other things that you need to do, like tell yourself the truth and all of the things that we've been talking about, so that I want to go to that harmonious aspect of it. I just, it's like a symphony, right? you've got all these pieces and you've got to get them all to play together. Nice. Like we've said, if you've got two parts of yourself in conflict, you're like slapping yourself around. You're creating your own. If you've got something you're resisting and something you're trying to do and you're resisting it on another level, then it's that, what I've said, that smacking together that doesn't go anywhere, that keeps you in a loop and keeps you, like you said earlier, doing all these things and not having any progress forward.
Yeah, much better to live in harmony.
Yeah, absolutely.
And live in harmony with source.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Oh,
so I
I
feel
love that.
wealth, I feel like wealth itself is a harmonious experience, and that connecting with your soul is a harmonious experience. And so when you do those, when you create that harmony and that beauty, then the world is your oyster, as they say.
Oh, I
Or
love that.
the heavens
Yeah.
are your oyster.
Wealth by Soul Design. There we go.
Exactly.
So we're coming to the end of our hour. I can't believe it's already been an hour. And so tell people how they can get a hold of you, what your program is. You have a free gift for our audience.
Right, I do. I have a the free gift is a little mini course. It's called Gateway to Wealth, and it's practical steps to greater prosperity through harmonizing with your soul. Isn't that a surprise? And so it's just three. It's three like video. It's a little course. It's 3 videos. They're pre-recorded. I'm going to have a Telegram. I have a Telegram group. It's launching next week, actually. I have a Telegram group that you can ask questions on and interact with people, and discover more about what it is to harmonize with your soul. But I will be giving some practical actions you can take, as well as working with the Akashic records, so that you're getting harmony on both the physical and the spiritual level. And so that's available for you. And the program that's coming out and towards mid-October is the Wealth Amplifier, embracing the harmonious, inspired path to prosperity. And this is where I'm going to be teaching you a process for you to really harmonize with your soul and to access the Akashic records and make change, rewrite your own story, so that you can create the wealth and the prosperity you like, and the business that supports that.
Fantastic, Serena. And what's your website? How can they find you?
I'm serenacurran.com, so they can go there. And I have a weekly message that I send out from the Akashic records, and they can, that's serenacurran.com/message if you want to get on my list to receive that. And I also do Wealth Aligned strategy calls, which are, complimentary calls where we look at what's going on with your business, and where you'd want to be with your business, and what are the challenges you've got going on, and we discover some pathways forward for you. So that's also available as well. And so there's quite a number of ways for you to connect and to gain more insight into how you can receive and bring more wealth into your own life and your own business.
I love that. Thank you so much, Serena. It's been such a pleasure to host you. Thank you for joining me again.
I've loved being with you. Thank you.
Thanks. And thank you everyone for joining me. Again, I'm Liz Peterson, and this is Raise the Vibe with Liz. Go to serenacurran.com and check out Wealth by Soul Design and everything she has to offer. I'll have everything in the show notes, so be sure to go down to the show notes and click on that free gift that Serena is sharing with us. Excuse me, I'm starting to bumble over my words now. And thank you again for joining me. This is Raise the Vibe with Liz. Remember to go out there and raise the vibe, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Serena. Bye.